to a show.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Off the Mats Podcast. I had to pause there for a second because I got too many podcasts, and sometimes I will say the wrong one in introductions, but it's okay. I got the right one this time. So this week's episode, I'm actually having a guest on that I've been wanting to have on for a long time, and I've had a few people ask me about this guest, and it just happened upon this week. It was like, hey, yeah, let's get an episode going. Like, I'm thinking like in 3 weeks or something. It was like, well, I'm free this weekend. All right, shit, let's do it. So this guest that I'm going to have on today is actually my neighbor and one of my Jiu Jitsu teammates and good friend, Jose Rodriguez. Welcome to the show, Jose. How you feeling?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for doing this. It's just funny because when I'm driving home from work, I go over the speed bump and I look over. I'm like, man, I got to reach out to Jose, try to get him on the show. And then, sure enough, you text me or message me on Instagram. I was like, yeah, man, just come on the show.
Yeah,
like,
you be tunnel vision in that car. I be seeing you sometimes like,
oh, dude.
buzzing on by.
When the end of the day is, I'm just like, just get home. I'm hungry.
Right.
But yeah, no, I'm happy to have you on, and just sit down and talk. And we've been talking for a while before anyway, so at this point it's like, shit, we don't already record. Like, we've already talked a podcast.
Right. We should have started recording 45 minutes ago, right?
That's a fact. I need to get better at that.
It's all good. Those are the best times when they're organic.
Yeah. Exactly. That's why. Like, I have notes, but I don't really use notes. We just talk, and then if it gets to like a kind of this weird point, it's like, so, you like cantaloupes? Like, shit like that.
Sure.
Like, it's like, I fucking hate cantaloupes, yo. They're fucking gross. So, but what's been going on with you? Like you still training? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't been training as much as I wanted to. Last probably 6 months or so. If I do the math quickly in my head, September, I kind of blew my shoulder out a little bit. Shoulder and neck injury for training for Masters Worlds. But a little rehab, a little medication, a little resting. I'm back into at least 2 to 3 days a week right now. So
nice.
Happy to be back.
Good.
Feeling stronger than ever.
Dude, you've always been the strongest person in the fucking gym, man.
Not anymore, though.
I remember one of the first times I rolled with you, and I was like, dude, I'm strong. And like, you got that Kimura grip on me. I was like, like the sweats, like the bullets, the sweat start rolling down. I'm like, oh no.
You know the funny thing speaking about Kimuras, I was talking to somebody the other day. I actually stopped doing Kimuras for like 2 years. I was doing them everywhere all the time, and then I was like, you know what? Let me stop. Let me expand my jiu-jitsu and start learning new things. And I was like, I'm not gonna go for it or whatever. I might just tease it. And then I was getting my ass beat for a while, and then so I started learning new things. And then I don't know, about a good 2 years or so afterwards, just started feeling right again, and finding them everywhere.
Well, when you start implementing more stuff into your game, and then bring your Kimura back, because you're the one that I got that tip from. Because I remember we were rolling, and you were basically saying, look, this Kimura grip is your lifesaver. You get this grip, and you never let it go. And there's a bit of a detriment to it at times, because I would hold on to it when people start countering it. Oh, yeah. And I'm like, I'm not letting go.
Time,
but it hurts.
Yes.
But Jose said don't let go. But I'm glad you're back though. Good.
Absolutely. But they say what gets you to where you're at in the early stages is not, it will be a hindrance in the future stages, so definitely let go when appropriate.
I had to learn that the hard way, and then even this week I actually didn't realize I had that Kimura grip on somebody. I was like, I'm sitting there holding it.
And it was your wife in bed.
No, that's happened before. Like, when you're cuddling, you're the big spoon
Yeah.
and you reach over, you grab the wrist, and then you reach under and grab your own wrist, and then it's like,
Yeah, she thinks he cuddling. We just doing jiu-jitsu
Yeah.
really, really slow.
like, look, I'm just trying to make sure my technique is all right. Hold on, I got to switch grips here. Then all of a sudden, you slide down to the ankle. And she's like, what are you doing? Oh, I haven't had a foot massage in a while. You can think that.
Right.
Like, what are you doing? Why is my knee hurt? Why are you not tapping? Yeah, I always say it's like when I'm training, I'm like, yeah, I don't see anybody anymore. But then it's like, I'm like, at one spot versus the other. And when I'm at one spot, everybody else is at the other spot, and then I keep flip-flopping.
No, that's the joy of having multiple locations, in close proximity to each other. We have the best of all worlds.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to Elk Ridge. You have, Coach Julius, the mastermind. Then you have like people like Coach Ty. Oh my God, of course Keith. Keith is like, he probably will blush a little bit, but he is definitely one of my favorite coaches. As far as his dedication to his teammates, and then his overall development. He cares for you in a rough way, which is needed.
There are times when after class, we'll sit around. We get in a circle and have a little mat chat.
Yeah,
and he'll say something, and I don't feel like it's directly at me, but I feel like it's directly at me, and it's like, then I have to like check myself. It's like, I feel like he's sending a strong message to me, like, quit being a bitch.
Yeah, pretty much. That's every speech. Matter of fact, that's what I love the speeches. And some people say that jokingly. I really do, because I marinate on them on the way home and things. But I feel like they're always custom to me.
Yeah.
And then he always said, "There's no one in the room." Don't feel that way. But I always feel like, yeah, damn.
I think that's for me though.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that advice.
Well, it's like there was one day, because the Wednesday morning class, it used to be an hour. Then I think they split the groups, white belts on one side and upper belts on the other.
Okay.
And upper belts, we do 90 minutes. Now, the thing is, you come in, you're there for the full 90.
Yeah.
Unless you say so beforehand.
Right.
And I've not stepped out early at all. I show up at 11:30. I'm there until 1, if not later. But he was saying, look, if you need to leave early, let me know before class.
Right.
Otherwise, if you tell me in the middle of class, I'm going to just think that's a strong case of bitch assness. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, is he talking about me? Like, I was like, but no, I didn't leave, did I? Like, no. But then I started pushing harder. I was like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Gonna call me out again. Probably wasn't. But he has a way of explaining the move where you will get it. And there's also kind of a tone that he uses where you may not understand it at first, but he doesn't make you feel dumb for not understanding.
Oh, of course not. And jiu-jitsu is algebra, as far as, so sometimes it takes a little more tenderness, so almost speaking in formula, and so at least for me, in my mind, I always equate it to like mathematics. I struggled with math when I was younger. And
Same here.
And the thing is, after a while, later down the road, by the time you get to college and all, then you realize, well, at least I realized that it's about identifying the equation and the formula that matches with it, and that's essentially jiu-jitsu. You're in a situation that's an equation. You're trying to equalize it, and then you're trying to remember that formula because I'm in this position, and this answers this equation. Boom. Yeah. Now we got the answer, and that's essentially what it is. But I'm still not good at math.
Nah, trust me, man. It's there are those moments where you get to a point you're like, yes, I got it. I know the answer. And then it's like, I'm glad you know the answer, because we're about to change the questions.
Right.
Fuck.
Right. That's like looking at a YouTube video of a move and then going to class, I'm going to try that. And then you start off with situationals and you're in mount.
Yeah.
or
It
whatever.
was like, fuck, that wasn't part of the plan.
Right, right.
I remember back at Ivy League, what did we work on? Rolling Kimuras. And I was like, okay. So to me, at that time, Jiu Jitsu still very new. And anything that I learned on the mat that day is something brand new. This is probably the first time we've ever seen this. This is being unveiled today to the world. I remember we work on Rolling Kimura. Now we're in live rolls. And I think it was Rodney. He wasn't there the previous class or something. I think this was a Wednesday because I would come in Wednesday morning and Wednesday night.
Okay.
So he's there Wednesday night. I'm like, yes, I got him. I didn't have him. Like it's like it's almost like he was waiting for me. It was like, oh, I've been waiting for somebody to try this for a long time. You dumb bastard.
That's how it be, man.
So,
That's how it be. It's humbling, but
yeah.
it's good for you for sure. I know when I first walked into the dojo, I was invited by my cousin Alex,
Yeah.
and I came in there. I was buff. I was like working out. Like I lost a ton of weight. I was close to like 300 pounds. I got to like 220 solid, like just muscle. But I was in the gym like 6 days a week, a big meathead. And then I walk into the dojo and like, yeah, I could do this. I'm in great shape. Man, I got my ass beat by this little cat. He was a blue belt. Has to be. I never seen him after that. He had to be at least like 5'0", you know, as far as height. And then that's what really got me because my ego.
Yep.
I was like, I can't believe that I just got my ass beat like this. And it wasn't just once. It was like back to back to back to back. And I was like, I have to learn this. I have to learn this. And this is what kept me coming back. But I had to check my ego. And that was a big problem at first because I in my mind I felt like I deserved to win, and you know for some reason I was like I'm in shape, I have to win. What's going on? And it doesn't
Why
work
is
like
this not
that.
working?
It doesn't work like that. It's a great equalizer, those mats.
Yeah, when I first came in, and I had gone to another gym prior, just like kind of a free trial type deal in Columbia, and it wasn't for me. That gym wasn't for me. Like it was very territorial. It was tribal. Like it was like
Wow. Yeah.
Point Break with Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze.
Right.
You know, everybody's got their break. It's like you can't get in their territory. That's how I felt
Man.
in that gym. Now we did King of the Hill there. I actually passed someone's guard, and not only that, and mind you, I have no idea what any of this is, but I passed someone's guard, and I was able to sweep someone accidentally.
Wow.
And the next time I got someone in my guard, he just stood up and walked forward and rolled me over. I was like, all right, so I guess that's a note. Don't do that again.
Right.
But I didn't feel like, as someone new, I was just kind of thrown in there and wasn't really like, I don't want to say baby. That's not the word I'm looking for. But, no one at least kind of said like, hey, man, so here, let's show you some like beginner stuff. They're just like, no, just jump in. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
I wasn't. But
They wanted to see what you had naturally, you know.
yeah, I guess. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I'm an athlete. I come in there, I'm like, lifting weights, playing football, playing basketball. You throw a sport, I'm in. So I'm in there. It's like, okay, I have athleticism. That's going to take me so far.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, first time out, I passed someone's guard. Didn't know what the fuck that was. It was just like, I didn't even know what side control was. I mean, I watched, UFC, so I
Sure.
knew
Yeah.
positioning, but I was like, okay, I got this dude. Like, what's up? What are we doing?
What now?
Like,
Right.
I was like, all right, somebody in with that guy. It's like, I didn't even learn my name. Dick.
Right.
But when I came to Ivy League, I did the trial there, and they had me work with Mouth, and
Mouth.
he beat the piss out of me.
That's humbling because he's like a young whippersnapper, you know.
He was, I want to say 13, maybe 14.
Yeah.
He might have just turned 14, and I was like,
Nah, he's been a beast since he was young.
yeah, he like, and it wasn't even like he was like beating me, like making me feel silly. It was just like he was like sweeping me,
Yeah. Just superior technique. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't know what this is, and I was like, I need to learn.
I feel like that today sometimes when I roll with some people.
There's I mean, there's like so many people now. It's like jiu-jitsu's made this transition and this move where when we were coming up in jiu-jitsu, and it was kind of in that transitional period, but it was in that middle point where it's like a lot of the basic stuff when you come in to learn, that's what you're learning for a while and kind of grasping it. Now they're like kids coming in, learning, you know, all types of wild things. Like, they're hitting Baron from every angle. And
Yeah.
it's like
Well,
I've
you,
only
you
been
got,
doing it for a week.
but you got to think about it too this way. BJJ is definitely, you know, it's, a, it's an evolution. You know, it's
Yeah,
continued to grow. But for us, you know, growing up in, at least in our first years in the camp we were in, you know, that was the foundation, if you will. You know,
yeah,
then we kind of stuck with that. The mastery was just more foundation, and then
yeah,
more rolling. You know, until we got some really advanced jujitsu instructors, and then everything started getting really interesting.
yeah.
And you know, a little scary at first. It's like, wow, like I was, the grunt, the strength that
Yep.
don't work no more. You know, so it's good. It's good. It's good that it happened.
I'm still in that. I'm stubborn. So what I've learned is still there.
Yeah,
And I still
of course, of
I hit the
course.
cement mixers on people every so often. I get excited. I'm like, I knew it still worked. Don't tell me it doesn't work. And then I get cement mixer, and then all of a sudden they get to X guard from there. I'm like, yo, how?
Yeah,
How are you underneath me now? Like, why am
yeah,
I standing up? So, but
sure.
yeah, the game evolves, and you can go back and look at old UFCs,
Yeah,
and you see the technique then
sure.
versus the guys now. It's
It's
so
two different. It's
yeah.
yeah, apples and oranges for sure, for sure. I mean, I look at you look at it generationally. You know, sometimes I'm in class and the locker room talk. Oh man, I'm just a little hurt, I'm tired, or whatever. And I'm like, I'm getting too old for this, and I'm looking at him like, man, you like in your early 30s, bro. Like, I got you by like almost like 15 years. And it fascinates them, but at the same time, it fascinates me that these younger guys are able to do what they can do. I think about like a Carlos, like
Yeah.
Herrera.
Oh my God.
Like
Yeah.
he's amazing, right? He's and he could be my son. Literally as far as his age is concerned. So
Yeah.
getting on the mat and getting beat up by someone that could be my son's age is humbling. But I love it. I love seeing it because you could see how it's just expanding. And then people are getting
Yeah.
it at earlier ages too, and that's
Uh-huh.
what Oh my God, getting it in my mid 30s. I wish I would have started when I was just like 15 or 16. It's wonderful, but it's great to see that now. You have multiple generations on one mat.
Yeah.
You see that in our camps too, which is awesome. Just goes to show you how expansive jiu-jitsu can be.
Yeah. It's weird having coached some of the kids that are now, like, you see they're blue belts, and
Yeah,
they're like whipping up on adults, and it's like, okay, I used to coach you. Now I know I didn't teach you that. But I used
yeah,
to be your coach.
yeah.
So, like, I'm proud of you.
It's the great equalizer, the mats, man. Because
Yeah.
the same people you can coach one day, the next people that all of a sudden coaching you, and that's
Yeah.
all right.
And honestly, that's something that I do love about it, is that, well, and that's where checking your ego comes into
Yeah,
play,
absolutely.
because you can't go out there and think, okay, well, you can't teach me anything. No, everyone, and that even goes for like upper belts dealing with white belts, like, because I always talk about life, like life experience
True.
brought to the mat. There are white belts that come out there that may have never done jiu-jitsu at all, period, but there's an understanding of struggle, there's an understanding of leverage, there's an understanding
Yeah.
of you, you know not being a spaz, and I think we're not allowed to
That's a
say.
science in itself.
Yeah, I feel like we're not supposed to say that word again. I don't know. I think Beyonce
Yeah.
said it and
Oh yeah.
someone got
Yeah.
mad.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Hey,
We're saying all types of fucked up words. And
we're just gonna be doing sign language soon.
yeah, that's true. It was like, I got to go in there and I was like, okay, I need a list of words that I can and cannot say in here today.
Right.
And I was like, well, Dante, I'm glad you came to us. Nope, I'm leaving. That's all I needed. But, there is a science, though, to understanding how to control your body on the mat. And
Oh yeah.
I was actually just told someone a story today. Like, actually, when my wife told me that she was pregnant, I was rolling with another white belt, and he had my back, and he rolled me straight back on my ankle, like over my ankles, pop pop,
Dirty. Yeah.
and it, like I was fucked. I was just sitting there like, and I wasn't mad at him. I was just like, damn it, yo.
Yeah, that shit hurts. I mean,
Yeah.
shit hurts.
So I get home, my wife's like, yeah, hurry home, because I was supposed to go to lunch with a friend. She was like, hurry home. I was like, okay, cool. I get home, and she hands me the pregnancy test, and me being me, I was like, oh, you peed on that? Don't put that in my hand. But whenever people are like, what's your worst injury? It's like, my wife got pregnant. Like, explain. But that whole pulling back on the ankles, that's a white belt thing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a dual thing, because he shouldn't have done it,
Sure.
but I should have positioned my legs though too, as I felt it happen. And I wasn't aware. I didn't know.
Yeah.
But there are people that come into this game kind of already understanding simple things like that, and they can pass that on to people. And there are times I know we joke and say, shut up, white belt, or white belts don't know anything. They have a working knowledge of things. It's just they don't know the things we know. Like,
Sure.
again, when you told me about the Kimura, I was a white belt.
Yeah.
And I mean, to me, I was like, okay, I took that as, hey, you're telling me this, and I've seen you doing it, so it worked. I'm going to run with it.
Yeah.
Versus thinking, because I think you might have just gotten promoted to blue belt.
Probably so. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you were a blue belt when you told me this.
Yeah.
And it wasn't in my mind like, whatever, you just got your blue belt, you don't know shit. And I was like, no, thank you. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I locked onto that. And that's one of the things with this sport I do find refreshing, is that a lot of people do take information and knowledge to heart, and they, it's rare, at least in my experiences, that anyone's disrespectful about it. Like you said,
Yeah.
do this, and I'm like, no, I'm not.
And some of that is, I wouldn't say just ego. Some of it is just tradition as well, and prop mat etiquette. As far as like you don't, if you're rolling and you don't want to be getting barked or instructions by a white belt. You should be getting barked instructions by like a superior
True.
belt or your coach. More importantly, but with that being said, a wise coach acknowledges the strengths that their students come with, and we see that a lot in our camp. I think about Big Shane. He's a wrestler at the 88s. He, there's been many times where Julius is teaching a class, and he will have him bring him up to the front to teach like an ankle pick or some type of wrestling move or takedown or whatever that kind of falls within the Jiu Jitsu wheelhouse as well, and he will teach that. But this is Julius's class, though. You know what I mean? So, like, I think that there is a lot of value in that, and also just seeing how great our coaches are to acknowledge those strengths in our students and allow them to like pass that on with proper guidance, and approval. So you don't have a bunch of motherfuckers just barking shit. Hey, do this, and then you're like, what? I don't know, and then you lost. That's the last thing you want. You don't want to receive instruction from someone that doesn't know the whole picture either. So. I get it, but to that point, I think it's important to see what people do come in with, kind of assess that, and once that's proven, then of course, it's all about each one teach one,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Actually, Keith brought that up a few weeks back, because I think I don't know who exactly, it was one of the upper belts, and I think maybe one of the white belts thought that the upper belt was being rude because the white belt asked a question, and the upper belt did not give him an answer. And it was because he felt like, I'm not a coach, I'm not qualified to coach and give you that answer.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
and it wasn't him being rude. It's just, again,
It's mat etiquette.
Yeah,
This times I'm rolling and someone say they'll ask a question. I'm like, you know what? Like I'll start to, and if it's something I have knowledge on, I will say a little something, but I always say, but let's get the coach. Let's see what he has to say, because he understands the big picture. I may have an expanding picture, but it's really minuscule in comparison to the coach who's been training for 10, 20 years, and I'm just measly old me.
yeah. Most times now, it's like if I'm rolling with someone, they ask a question. It's like, look, I tell you what I like, but
Right.
also understand this. I am the class rest round. So don't take the advice from me. Like, hey, so what do I do here? Well, I do this, but also understand I end up in side control a lot. So let's call coach over and find out the official answer.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
that's
the way to go.
you kind of have to, understand that on the mat though too, as the person asking the question, and the person that may have been asked the question, because there are times I have a question and I look at who I'm rolling with, whether it's a white belt or a blue belt or even a purple belt, and I'm like, I'll ask like, do you think it's a would this work in a realistic scenario? And if it's a purple belt, they might say, it could, but you also have to think about this, and that,
Right.
but also ask coach. And
Right. Everything should end off with ask coach. Let's get coach. Oh, coach, come
yeah,
over. Answer this question.
yeah, if you're not asking coach at the end of it all, then
Because you want to share best practices. I work in healthcare, and we always talk about sharing best practices. Evidence based. So the black belt is an evidence. Is based on evidence, right? That he knows what he's talking about. So let's just listen to them.
yeah, I mean, if you end up, you have some people who are like, what's the right word? I'll just use ignorant because I don't know any other word. That it's like they don't trust the knowledge of the black belt coach, and it's like, come on, dude.
Why are we here? Why
Yeah.
why are we paying for classes if we don't trust what they have to say to us? I don't know. I was raised by a military father. He was a psychopath and like an alcoholic half my life. Vietnam veteran, Korean War veteran. That's yelling and screaming and violence was a norm. So when I go to class, honestly, I don't like normally for people to yell at me and all. But I'll tell you what, like if a coach yells something at me and I actually hear him because I'm like a little deaf in one ear, but if I actually hear what he says, I want to do it. And it shouldn't be too much more conversation about it. It should be like a yes sir, no sir, and just keep it moving.
Yeah,
But
like
I don't know, but that's just me.
no, I get it. No, when I remember one of the first times Master Julius, I was in one of his classes, and what did I do? I think I'd gotten a sweep, but it was lazy. It was like a scissor sweep, and I didn't follow through. I was just like, okay, I got the sweep, and I was being super passive. He's just like, why are you letting them back up? Like, why are you not going to side control or knee on belly at this point? What are you doing? And I was, I'm like deer in headlights.
It was
like,
probably some motherfuckers and fucking and other colorful words in that sentence as well.
yeah. Oh, trust me, there's definitely a fuck.
But there's something to that though. It's something to that. The words have a vibrational frequencies. So and there's certain words that you can say that makes you actually react differently, right? If someone's in your face and you're talking and then all of a sudden, let's say that you're at work, right? And then all of a sudden someone drops an F-bomb, right? It's like, ooh, automatically you look. It's like, oh, you hear, even if you're not in the conversation, you heard the word, it automatically grabs your attention. Your body reacts a certain way, right? That's what there's power in curse words. Yeah. So when they say, look, motherfucker, get your ass up, and it charges, and it makes you actually feel like an action has to follow what's being said versus like, get up, unless you're like Danner or where that's his norm, But but he has I swear he got like Jedi.
Yeah, there's something else going on there.
Yeah.
Okay, Gordon Ryan.
Right.
I need you to move your arm there.
Right.
What? No, but yeah, there is kind of a you hear that like, what the fuck are you doing, or like fucking move
your attention.
There's like a
quick, right?
I got move. There's like urgency to it.
Yes. That's why I love David Goggins. People talk about him all the time. I posted his book on Facebook the other day. One of my friends made a comment. She was like, "I'm waiting for the PG version." I was like, "Do they even make a PG version?"
Keep waiting then.
Right.
I'll have my kid read it.
You miss half the book. Half the book is curse words. But you need it.
But that's the magic to that book.
It's the magic. Though. Yeah, absolutely.
I think I started listening to it on the audiobook.
Oh, the audiobooks are the best. I read both books, but the audiobooks are the best because it's like an audiobook podcast.
Yeah,
So it's a lot of extras and everything as well. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good.
the way that like the way that he just talks. Period. There's like kind of a command to it where he has your attention.
Yeah,
I think that's one of those signs of a good leader, a good coach. Just, I mean, that's not all. There are some coaches.
yeah,
Donaher being an example.
right.
There are a lot of good coaches that can talk passive and very light and get the point across. And there are coaches that they can do that, but also when it's go time, they know when to turn that switch on. You look
Yeah,
at football coaches, Bill Parcells being one of those
yeah,
where, he was a genius. He, like with the New York Giants, he was like, look, these guys are in here fighting each other. So he was smart and made them all hate him. Now they're united and
smart
they
guy.
hate him,
Yeah,
but they're working together.
right.
And then he won a Super Bowl. So good for them.
Yeah.
I mean, you got
Ego, man. You got he had to um, herd the ego. You know.
especially when you think about jiu-jitsu, MMA, wrestling, combat sports, period. All you have in there is a bunch of men with testosterone, ego just rolling. So you gotta get that.
And some
under
badass
control.
women though. Don't get me.
Oh no,
you
no,
can't
no.
forget them. But I know what you're saying. Whenever you get a bunch of testosterone up in a room,
Like
and
fighters, period.
yeah, it's always going to be some of that, But I think it's an art to managing it, right?
Yeah.
Because I've seen some camps where like those guys kind of take over, right? And and we have a family oriented camp, filled with killers, but it's
Yeah.
very family oriented. There's a certain way to go about things, so those behaviors get checked.
Yeah, there's a time and place, especially, and it's funny, like with our gym, you especially know when there's the time and place, because we all get along, we all laugh, we smile, we have a good time, but we know. I mean, what's going on this
Yeah,
Pans this weekend,
oh, yeah, yeah.
and
And they're killing it out there.
oh my god, like
Oh my god.
every time I go to Instagram, it's like
Yo, Epps, I'm so freaking proud of Epps, man. Oh my god, I felt like I was on the stage just watching it. Jeremy, oh my, that's my main man right there. He pulled that off. I'm super proud of him. I can't believe it. And the weekend's not over.
yeah. Well, I mean, and that's the thing, I forgot. There's still matches going
Yeah.
on, like shit.
Yeah.
But it's like leading up to competitions like this. The seriousness is there,
Yeah.
but you also have that lightheartedness because you have to have a good balance.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I think anything on polar opposites is bad. You always want to. If you cut out the extremes, you have the middle part. That's the best part that we have to settle on. But we live in a society where everything's kind of polarized right now. So
Yeah.
and most people kind of gravitate to. Who said this the other day that I heard? People gravitate to pleasure more than they do peace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, oh man, I can't believe I forgot who said that, but it stuck with me because they were talking about women, but it applies to everybody, But he was talking about women where they date a nice guy and they get bored. Because they're used to the guy that's beating them up and cheating on them and it's exciting for them, So
It's like the bad boy.
Yeah, the bad boy, right? But he's ruining your life, but you got that little bit of pleasure, But that's where everybody wants some type of pleasure, right? Versus the peace, being able to calm our minds down to actually learn new skills or just new things in general. We don't even have the attention span anymore to do that. It's like we just want excitement all the time. But I don't even know how that related, but I kind of went off on a tangent.
Nah, that's cool. I think about that too when I go into class. I haven't done it in a while, but I used to like drive in listening to Sade. I'd always go and listen to something like calming because if I go in with this, from time to time I might throw on Wu-Tang, I might throw on 50 Cent, something like that, just something to kind of get me riled up.
Yeah.
But it's very rare because if I go in like that, there's just like there's like fucking two tigers in my brain just fighting and I can't focus. But if I come in like calm, I can focus on what we're learning and try to implement it. And then Then once it's go time, once we're sparring, it was like, okay, like put something on, like get me fired up now.
Hey, we get the most random of music in our classes, though. To be honest, so like I've learned to tune some things out,
I think
but I can't listen to too calming of a music because it's I feel like my my interior doesn't match the exterior situation. If I'm like too calm. So like I even hear people like they listen to calm music before like to competing or like a tournament or something like that, right? And I can't listen to any music. Like I can't have headphones on. I have to be like in the moment. I have to feel the energy, and I just allow it to happen. Otherwise, like I feel like it's a struggle to ramp up to meet the need. Whether it's on a
Yeah.
mat or on the competition, if I'm not allowing myself to get to that level of energy, and it feels like a, you mentioned like a panic attack. It feels like anxiety almost. But the more I try to calm it, the more I feel like I'm gonna explode. So like, I have to just like be jumping like in it, in order to really maximize the moment. Before class, what I do now is I try to get my heart rate up as quickly as possible. So if class starts at 8 o'clock and I know it takes me about 15 minutes to get there, I'm out the door. I mean, I start working out probably around 7 just to, and I would say working out, I might do some like speed exercise or something like that.
Yeah.
Jumping jacks, something to get my heart rate over to like 130. Once it's there, I just let it calm down, and then when I get to class, like that initial anxiousness or anxiety, whatever that I usually feel, it dissipates, and then I walk right into class and just roll right into it. What I found is that some people feel like they want to reserve their energy, for this miraculous moment that they feel is going to happen, and I want to make sure I have them extra calories. So I want to preserve everything, So I try to do the warm ups as good as I can. I don't want to half-ass the warm-ups. I want to make sure that I'm warmed up. Number one, I'm older, so I'm about to be 40. What am I about to be? I think I'm about to be 44. I might be about to be 43.
It happens to all of us.
Oh man, see, this is when you get old, when you don't even know your age anymore, right? So, but my bones, don't work the same. My body doesn't warm up as quickly, and it doesn't cool down as quickly either. So, all of that has to be accounted for. So I try to get my heart rate up before class, so that way I already have broken the sweat. I go right in. I warm up for the warm up, and then I get into the warm up, and then that's the warm up for the training, for the drilling, and then the sparring and all. So, and I find that if the more I've been doing that, I feel better throughout the class as far as my energy levels, and my recovery time afterwards is better as well. It's nothing like worse than getting in a situation and your biology is not physical. You're not ready for it. And now you got this whole human being trying to mount you and climb your.
That's not what we're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Stop.
Right.
So, and that makes sense because I think about it like now. It's like, maybe I would benefit to, like do something before going to class, and then because, like I said, I get in the car, I pull up, I park, have a quick little panic attack, like get my breathing under control, walk into the class. It was like, hey, how's it going? I'm acting like nothing. I'm acting like I wasn't just out there hyperventilating, like about to start the car back up and go home. And it was like, nah, hey guys, what's going on? All right, everybody ready to train? So,
but Jiu Jitsu is great for anxiety. At least from my experience, it's great for a lot of mental health issues in general. But definitely for anxiety, especially coming out of COVID, a lot of people developed anxiety, or their anxiety got worse during it, and then things started to open back out, and then it's like, oh, now the anxiety is even worse now because everything's opening up, and everybody went through it. The whole world just had a dang panic attack. So,
true.
We're all adjusting.
Yeah, I think that was kind of a big shock to everyone's systems. Obviously, we didn't know something like that was coming, and just in general, I feel like martial artists. I don't want to exclude other groups, but I'm gonna go into Jiu Jitsu players. I feel like we handled it better than most groups because it's that's just it, the anxiety of going to train, going to compete,
Yeah.
just doing any of it, and coming back out of COVID, coming out of lockdown, it was kind of a similar situation. It was like, okay, we've been here before, we know what to do, we know how to regulate it, we know how to control our breathing. And you had other cats coming out,
Yeah.
they didn't know what the fuck to do. It was like, wait, are we allowed to?
Well, not only that, we've been so used to sharing all kinds of germs.
Oh my god,
Close and personal. So
yeah.
it's like COVID, whatever. I just got hepatitis C. What are you talking about?
It's like, man, it's like, nah, I'm good.
Right, I
Like,
just got a staph infection the
yeah,
other day,
like,
whatever.
yeah, and that's the weird thing. It's like, when COVID hit, we went through this thing of videos on how to wash your hands. And it's like, I feel like we should already know this,
Right.
but obviously, well, because where I work in customer service, and we have, workers come in, they use the bathroom in our office, and after
Yeah,
COVID,
man.
I started paying real close attention. Like, so I hear that water run for 20 seconds. Like, what,
Yeah.
what you doing? So,
Yeah, healthcare was interesting throughout COVID. Um,
oh, I'm sure.
yeah.
Like, I had one of my guests. Funny enough, that's when I caught COVID. 2 years later, I got it January of 22,
Okay.
like right at the beginning.
Okay.
It's from one of two things. My guest who came over, who he works in healthcare, comes over Saturday night. We're recording. We did one of our Ultimates Nerdcast.
Okay.
Had a good time. I don't remember what movie we talked about, what show we talked about, but it was a good episode, fun. Then the next day, I went to Ravens game, and the rules at M&T Stadium were fucking ridiculous.
I mean, all that is ridiculous, but yes.
It's like, okay, I'm walking in line, put your mask on. Okay, cool. Got my mask on. I walk in line. You can't enter without the mask on. All right, go to your seat. Got to keep the mask on. Once you sit down, you can take your mask off now. I was like, that's
Right.
really weird.
Right.
And then when you leave to go to the bathroom to go get a drink, there's a big sign say, hey, don't forget your mask. Weird. Okay, cool. Didn't matter. I got punch drunk. So I didn't even care.
Right.
There was a point where I was like, I'm pretty sure I lost my. I might have the BJJ Wiki mask on, so I didn't lose that one. But I think I had like another like mask because I was double masking, more
Okay.
so because the BJJ Wiki it gets all sweaty and gross. So I kept like the cloth one as well, or the paper one. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, the standard surgical mask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had a couple of those. I put those on. I just had the BJJ Wiki mask, so it was like, look, y'all know who it is. It's Dante. But I get home, fucking trash, record another podcast, and then I get a call from my buddy who I recorded with on Saturday, or he shoots me a text. He goes, "Hey, Dante, I was exposed. You might want to go get checked out." And I felt fine. I was like, no, "I'm good." Like, I wasn't ignoring. I was like,
Yeah.
"I'm okay." Then we get to Tuesday, so I'm feeling a little off. We get to Wednesday, my off day. I don't work that day. Didn't feel great. Didn't feel terrible. Just felt a little, just kind of under the weather. Just
Sure.
tired,
Right.
but still feeling like felt like I was up late the night before. Thursday, I go into work. Felt good till about 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock hit, and I was like, I feel like something's not right.
Yeah, man.
I'm slumped over in the chair. Friday comes up. I go into work and then I call my district manager. I was like, hey, I want to give you a heads up right now. I probably should go get a COVID test. I don't feel great. Like I'm sweating right now. I got chills. My body's aching. I didn't have any coughs or anything. I guess it was.
Everyone get weird, different combinations of symptoms. Yeah.
I didn't lose scent or taste, which
Shit.
I'm happy for that because I would have lost my mind.
Yeah.
But I ended up, I always got to have fun when I'm like in a serious situation. The lady's going to swallow my nose, like, and she's like stone faced looking at everyone. And I'm looking at her like, nah, I'm getting you. She comes around. She's like, you just see everybody wincing in pain. I look at her
it's
like,
the worst. It's the worst.
she comes up to my nose. I was like, hey, this is my first time. Be gentle. And she smirked. I was like, oh, gotcha. And then she goes to the other nostril. I was like, ooh, it's my second time. Ooh, oh. But that time she went in. I was like,
man.
the first one was like kind of light. I was like, all right, I appreciate it. The second one, I don't think she liked it.
All of it's terrible. Nothing should go up your nose like that.
No. And I was just like, I felt like, we are in the 21st century. We have all the technologies in the world, everything. And this is the only way you think is fit to find COVID is to shove a stick up my nose. I just feel like there's got to be a better way. Someone's got to know. Give me the answers.
Speaking of taste, I didn't have. We got it. My whole family got it in 2020. I didn't have any taste or smell for about 9 months after. Man. It's the craziest thing because I honestly thought that my shit didn't stink no more. I was like, man, COVID cleaned my ass out. And then my wife was like, nah, honey, you smell like shit. I was like, man, I'm farting. It wasn't even smelling. I was like, damn, I guess I'm eating clean or whatever. Like, I'm doing good. And she was like, nah, you smell like ass. Like, it was like, terrible.
Like,
and I was like, man, fix that. Yeah. And that's when I realized, I was like, man, my smell is like really, like, it's gone. And taste, it was like, everything tasted the same. It was just weird. It's weird. I knew it should taste a certain way, so I think my brain was causing me to experience that food a certain way, but it had no taste. It's crazy.
That's got to be weird because I would think because your brain knows food is supposed to taste a certain way.
Yeah, of course.
So it's like I would almost think you have to like go with extreme foods, like like okay, pizza. Right. That's very, very specific.
Sure.
Wings.
And that's the thing. It wasn't like it was no taste. It was some. So like you could taste saltiness. You could taste when something was sweet or spicy or whatever, but you couldn't really get the full flavor of it. So who knows what my cooking was like for those 9 months. It probably was terrible and no one told me.
Your son was like, Mom, is Dad cooking tonight? Right. Yeah. Please no. Right. He can't taste the food. He can't smell that he's burning it.
Right.
Like fortunately, I didn't have that issue. I did have horrible brain fog.
Oh man. I think I still do.
Yeah, I'm still tripping.
Yeah, I started taking lion's mane.
Yeah, someone told me to get some of that, and I was like,
yeah, acetylcholine, lion's mane. What is the other one? I can't think of it right off the top of my head, but there's a couple of nootropics that I've been taking just to help with brain fog. Obviously, it hasn't helped. I'm forgetting like key things. I'm forgetting the name of the supplement that's supposed to help me with my memory.
Yeah, I think that's part of the game. No, like I forgot my grandma's phone number. It's been the same number for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
And like my biggest fear is losing my mind, losing
like dementia or Alzheimer's or something. Yeah.
My grandmother's uncle stayed with us. I want to say maybe my sophomore year in high school, and he had Alzheimer's.
Oh yeah.
And it was painful watching this happen to him. And I remember just thinking like, man, I can't imagine that, and I hope it never happens.
Yeah, man, it's terrible.
Once COVID hit and that shit started happening, I couldn't remember my grandma's phone number. For work, I work at various locations, so I got to remember alarm codes. I have to remember codes to get into the buildings.
Yeah, I'm terrible at passwords.
And I had to write them all down. And the reason, I'm normally really good with numbers, but when that shit hit, I had to write. And the reason I don't like to write stuff down because though I am good with numbers and I have a pretty decent memory, I like to think I'm terrible with not losing stuff. So meanwhile, you see, oh, there's the address to this store. This is the code to get into the building. That's the alarm code. These are all so I had to write them down and hide them for myself in the car. Just all this extreme stuff because of COVID.
Yeah, man.
Like, so if any of our buildings were to get broken into, they're like, so Dante, you
Right.
fucked up. And I'm like, yo, COVID fucked up. I ain't do nothing.
Blame it all on COVID.
Oh, like, of course.
But yeah, but Alzheimer's, dementia, it's a scary thing for sure. My aunts, one of my aunt is dealing with that right now, and it's weighs heavy on you. You know, when you see a person in their full light, and then they start to diminish over time. It's challenging. I told my
Yeah.
wife, I probably should put this on paper, but I told her, I was like, if that happens to me, just kill me.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause I feel like I am my memories. You know, if
Yeah.
I don't have that, then what am I? Like, I'm just a scared little boy.
Yeah, that's why I said to my wife, I was like, look, if I get to that point,
Yeah, it's scary though.
don't like drag it out.
Right.
Like, because at the end of the day, my daughter, her voice, her laughter, the memories that we have. Like, we do songs before bed. We sing.
Yeah.
We dance. You don't want to lose those things. And
Right.
once that stuff starts slipping,
Yeah.
it gets scary.
Oh yeah.
And the way that, just dealing with COVID, the way I handled it was to make light of a lot of all of it.
You had to. You had to.
I was posting because I don't post a whole lot. Like, I don't write on Facebook anymore. I'll post memes on Facebook just to let people know, hey, I'm still here. Don't forget I'm here. When it gets quiet, I like to post I think I have a meme I'm posting tonight, and it is fucked.
You got them scheduled.
It's like, I know that it's not okay, but I gotta let people know I'm still here. I didn't go anywhere. I'm just, I got a lot of social media.
Yeah, you got a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of shit going on, man.
Yeah.
So, but I went on Facebook right after I got COVID and was just making jokes about it. And then I had seen a post from an old coworker, and it didn't register what was going on. I thought it was a birthday post. Her mom had just passed, and from COVID, and like that's when reality hit me. I was like, "Fuck, this is real." I went and took down my post. I was like, "I don't want to make light."
Yeah.
And
And that's good. That's good of you, though. To have that level of self awareness. Sometimes my awareness is not all the way there. I had a patient one time. She showed up, and I asked her. I was like, "What's your name?" And she said, "Anita." And I was like, "Your last name?" And she said, "Newman." And I was like, "Oh, what happened to the old one?" And she said, "He died 2 weeks ago." And I almost died right there. I was like, "Oh, my fucking asshole."
See, that's the thing though. When there's like that opportunity, it's like, you have to check yourself, because it's like,
Yeah.
do you take the opportunity or do you let it go?
Yeah, but sometimes it just happens automatically, though, and it's like, and then you realize that afterwards, I probably shouldn't have just let that come out, but it's just a reaction. It just came out that way. But my intentions was to be funny, but it failed horrendously.
And that's the thing. Sometimes I'm not sure if I'm trying to be funny, like the story I told you about earlier with Easter.
Yeah.
Like, it was just kind of like the observational thought, and by the time it started coming out, I couldn't stop, and I was like, oh no.
See, what's worse is that sometimes I think I'm funny. As long as I think I'm funny,
Oh no, that's what
so I get a chuckle out of it.
Oh, no,
But
no. If
usually most people don't agree.
if you find the humor in it, that's the okay part. But there are times where, like, I'll say something, and I'm like, my intent is to be like, look, I'm just gonna be a dick right now, but it's like, that was actually pretty funny. Let me, like, where can I, like, I'll go tweet it to myself. I don't say that for later.
Right.
Like,
Good story for the podcast.
Exactly. Like, someone was like, dude, you should, like, do stand-up comedy. I was like, no.
Hey, if T.I. can do it.
But can he? like, let's pump the brakes there. Like, well, that's the thing. It's like,
I haven't even seen the show, but I just can't. I haven't embraced it just yet, but I haven't seen the show because he could be really funny. Who knows?
I've heard mixed things.
Yeah.
And comedy is a weird thing because what were we watching the other night? We were watching something on Netflix. I don't particularly find this person funny at all. My wife loves them, and I'm like, okay, I'll sit through it. And I think
Was it Chris Rock?
so. She was like, no, it was pretty good. I was like, really? I was like, I'll watch it one day. Like,
Who was it?
Was it? I think it was Bert Kreischer. It was
Okay.
Bert Kreischer.
Okay.
And I think when I hear him on podcasts, I think he's funny. When I hear him do stand up, I'm not amused.
Okay.
The last third of that special, though, he got me. I was like, okay, now I'm laughing. But that's not to say he's not funny. He's just not funny to me.
Yeah.
And again, my wife, she loves his stand up. I'm like, okay, that's good. I personally do not, but if I see him as a guest on the podcast, I'm probably going to download. And it's weird because when he's on the podcast, he's pretty much just doing comedy anyway. He's just telling stories, and it's like, you're funnier here.
But that's where a lot of good comedy is stories, right?
Yeah.
Whenever I hear them tell stories that happened in the past to them, those are the best ones. The real things.
Yeah, it's like there were some times like when I do on my other show, Columpton, with my buddy. We've been friends since I moved here, and we'll end up just talking about like an old story, and I was like, actually, when we really look back on it, that's pretty funny. But then there are some stories. It's like there's one incident that took place, and it's like we mention it on the podcast, but we will never tell the story on the podcast because it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know if we're getting people in trouble with this story. I know we can tell the story about ourselves, but there's so many other individuals involved.
Oh my God, yeah.
People will know who those individuals are, and it's like,
that's the reason why I would never write a book of my life, because it's too many details and too many other people involved.
Like, that's the thing. If I wrote a book about my life, it'd be one of those things where it's like, I think they get to a certain point where like, I'm pretty sure this guy's lying. Like, why? What makes you think that? I don't think he had telekinesis. I'm pretty sure he could not fly. What makes you think that? The fuck do you think? Like, because like, I always question myself about memories. It was like, did that really happen, or did I dream that, or did I make it up? Like, there's some things that I saw for sure as a kid, but I was certain. I told my wife the story. Going to school one morning, telling her about this lady who knocked on our door. My mom didn't know her, and she asked to bum a cigarette off my mom. Okay, my mom gives her a cigarette. She's got a trash bag, so like she's going to take out trash that morning. And they sat there, they're talking, whatever. I leave, I go to school, whatever. I'm a little kid. I gotta catch this bus, lady. I got stuff to do. I'm the future. So, I come home, and hear my mom talking to a friend, and she's talking about the lady from earlier. Everything seems cool, but it wasn't cool. Because I guess something transpired throughout the day. She got caught.
Oh,
wow. Very tragic thing going on, but that wasn't trash in her bag. And it's like,
all coming back.
Like as a kid, yeah, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, man.
And I asked my wife, I was like, I'm certain I told you the story. She was like, you've never told me the story. I was like, there's no way I never told you this fucking story. Like, that shit is like etched in my mind. I will not forget the details of that. Or, going to school, walking out my apartment, there's a dude laying in the hallway, cut up, blood all over the floor.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Stepped over, like, that was normal. It was just like, okay, you gotta get this fucking bus. I can't be late. And she was like, you've never told me these stories. I was like, I'm certain I have. I was like, damn, I can't write a book because I don't even know if I'll be telling the stories to my wife or not.
So what you do is you write it, and then you never do anything with it, and then it's part of your will, right? Still read it after you leave. And be like, that son of a bitch, I knew he did that.
I'll write on the top of it, I don't know if I told you the story or not.
That's the letter.
You see the executor reading this. And to my darling wife, Sarah Dante. It says, I don't know if I've told you this story before. And just starts reading all these random stories. Like, it just opens up a book.
Yeah, man.
Like, chapter 1.
Sometimes I gotta be you know, there's a ton of stories I don't share with nobody, and you know, I think that there's some things that every man should die with, you know. So you know, there's always those situations where it's like, did I share that already? You know, especially when you're like with someone for so long, you know. Half the times I ended up telling her, you know, the inkling of it or whatever. But when you're with somebody for over 20 years, it just they're gonna know everything, you know. It's just unless you're really good, and I'm not.
Yeah, like with my wife, it's like there's a certain point where it's like, again, I don't know what I've told her, what I haven't told her. I just assume I've told her everything, but it's like, whenever we're like sitting around, just like,
See, but that's the old dad syndrome, right? Because like it's like my father used to always tell me the same freaking stories over and over again, and I'm like, you told me that already. You told me you don't have to. Please don't. You know, don't tell me again. And he'll just keep on telling the story, and I find that I do the same thing now.
so we do that on the Colompton podcast.
Yeah.
So we're at 98 episodes
Oh
for that
wow,
one,
okay,
and
good for
I'm
you, man.
pretty
That's
sure.
what's up.
Like that's what happens when like COVID hit and it's like, well, shit, I ain't got nothing else to do.
Yeah, man.
Can't go to jiu-jitsu, get a mixer and some
And
microphones.
by the way, virtual jiu-jitsu is not the same. I almost killed my wife trying to as her as a drill partner.
I was using her.
Oh my god!
I was like, all right, come here. You're about to learn what a knee on belly is.
Right.
My daughter's like, what's that? Although she was able to Granby very well, but I mean, she's like
Yeah.
pliable. Like I'm watching her Granby, I was like, holy
Oh,
shit.
to be young, you know, and plastic.
I'm pretty sure like this was a different setup in the basement, but I was sitting there trying to Granby and I kicked over like a stand with some figures. I was like, okay, this is not for me.
Yeah, man. I have mats in the basement. So,
Like,
by the way, if you ever want to get a roll in or whatever, I got a 10 by 10 in the basement. It's right across the street.
yeah, I mean, I'm always here.
I'm
down.
gonna try to get Goose over there. I know he doesn't know much, but he's strong as hell.
He came up and trained.
Yeah, I know.
He did one
He went to
trial
Savannah
with us.
Park a couple times. Yeah.
Yeah, he asked about you last time we were watching fights over here. And I was like, I mean, like we don't see each other in passing. He goes to one class, I go to another class, and
Yeah.
then when I go to that class, he's at another class. It's
Yeah.
like that's just the way of our flow. But again, like you said, we've got out here we've got two really good programs right here. Then Owens Mills isn't that far, to be quite honest.
I go to all three. So it usually is like a Tuesday on Elk Ridge. I missed a couple classes recently for a class that I'm in school, but then I have Thursdays at Savannah Park, and then I try to do either like a Wednesday or maybe a Friday. Kind of alternates whenever the schedule opens up for Owens Mills. So I like to go to all three. Excuse me. Part of it is rolling with different guys.
Yeah,
You know, different techniques, different sizes, different strengths. You know, all that plays into it. I like the variety of it. Because sometimes I may learn something in Savannah Park, and then try it. I tried in Savannah Park. Everyone's learning it at the same time, so it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But then I'll go to Elk Ridge or something like that, and it might work on a guy or two. You know, so I like to mix it up like that. And we have just a hell of a pot of talent in our schools. So you know, I'm trying to absorb it all if I can.
Yeah, it's funny to think. Yeah, and I know, sure, I'm very biased because I train at 88.
Right.
But I always say, no, we're like the best jiu-jitsu school in Maryland.
Oh, I would say that without a doubt. I would.
It's like, and then I started like, let's expand a little bit. Say the Delmarva Peninsula. Sure, we'll take it. All right, what else can we expand to? You want to go East Coast?
But check it out.
We're
though,
up there,
right?
though.
So if you look at it as far as the size of the school,
Mm-hmm.
3 camps, 4 camps really, you know, including of course, you know,
Camp
Springs, yeah. Four camps in Maryland, and that's it, right? But think about the amount of champions and Grand Slam winners that come out of just those small amount of locations in comparison to some of the competitors like the Atos or Alliance, who are like
Yeah.
15 in every state, you know, like they're everywhere, you know. And you know, so if you I feel like if you would do a study or a comparison as far as like a size ratio and the amount of like pound for pound, you know, champions that come out of the schools, we would be up there with those top schools that outnumber us like by enormous numbers.
Yeah.
So there's something about that. I think that should be looked at. I even seen at one point like Lloyd Irving's camp was I think it was like I want to say like top top 5 or something like that at one point in the whole country. That's amazing.
I mean, especially considering it's only
Yeah,
here,
yeah,
where you got those other camps. They've started branching out to other states, other like
yeah,
parts of the country, and it's like we're just right here.
I mean, there is Lloyd Irving in Russia, as well. So, but I don't know. I haven't even heard about anything out of there recently.
I mean,
But this is
it's an opportunity though. I mean, once you start hitting international.
yeah,
Actually, that's what I did have written down here because I think this was like a while ago. You had gone over to Scotland, I think.
oh yeah,
And then I was, I think, I asked you if you had trained over there at all. Like,
Yep.
how was that?
It was awesome and humbling. Oh my God, humbling. So we did two different camps, and they were in different locations in Scotland. We went to a Gracie Barra camp out there, and of course did a gi class. It was great. It was a big class. I want to say it's about like maybe 50 people in the class, all shapes and sizes. It was a good, well run class. And then we went up a little up to where did we went to Glasgow. I think we went to 10th Planet.
Okay.
Did a no gi, and they beat the brakes off of us. It was me and my brother-in-law, and he they just saw two big ass Americans walking in the camp, and it was like nah. And they you don't know whose belt is what, but all these guys like literally beat the brakes off of us, and we were like, okay, guys, great, thanks for the training. And then as soon as we turned the corner, we were just like, oh my, these motherfuckers killed us. Like we got to hike like 20 miles tomorrow, and like I can't even feel my legs, But it was good. It was humbling, and I try to take advantage anytime I'm traveling to do some jiu-jitsu training. I did it in Puerto Rico as well.
Nice.
San Juan BJJ, Coach Reyes that works out of there, Carlos Reyes. He's awesome. And then I went out to Hawaii recently in December. Wasn't able to do anything as far as the classes and where I was. The timing didn't line up. But we're going back in May, so do another 2 weeks out there. So I'm making it the point to do at least one jiu-jitsu class out there because, of course, I try to wherever I go. Yeah.
Nice. That's always a good, a good like kind of barometer of just first off you're taking your skill, kind of pairing it up with a different region.
Yeah.
And then also absorbing what they have to offer as well.
Absolutely.
I think jiu-jitsu these days especially has that that beauty of it where before it used to be like you can't train anywhere else.
Yeah.
And this is like, and if you look
it's-
over there,
it's definitely
we fighting.
open. It's definitely open. It's very welcoming. Just the jiu-jitsu community, it's exciting just to be tied into it.
Yeah.
That you can go anywhere, and there's gonna be a camp somewhere close by, unless it's like North Dakota or something like that. But I don't know. There may be some camps in North Dakota. Who knows? But there's always going to be a camp, a rock throw away. So you're looking it up to see.
I gotta know.
And they're always welcoming, and a lot of camps you could just go in. They don't like charge anything, but there's other camps you pay like $20 or like whatever it is. But it's it's fine, especially if you're traveling and they give you a rental along with it. Tell you what, taking your gi with you traveling like internationally is a pain because they're heavy. They take up not necessarily the heavy. They take up a lot of space. But I made sure I had a couple gis when I went out to Scotland, and it was a lot of fun.
Good. Yeah, I always think about like the ideal of travel. I talk to a lot of people in Europe who do jiu-jitsu, and I'm always like, dude, one day I'm going to come there and I'm going to train with you. We are friends. At the very least, we got to train. Meanwhile, I'm not even, going down the road to train with someone else. I was like,
Yeah, me and my brother-in-law, we talked about doing a YouTube channel. We were gonna call it like a Vagabond BJJ, and just visit places and record just our training experience, to do like a quick interview with the coach and everything. But then, reality set in. We weren't able to do that.
I'd been toying with that ideal for a very long time because I was like, it wouldn't be bad to pack up the equipment,
Yeah.
go train, sit down 15 minutes, talk with a couple people there,
Yeah.
15 minutes each, and then kind of like a Anthony Bourdain style
Yeah.
show.
I was thinking like a fuck that's delicious, style. So you can go out there, train, and then partake in whatever,
Well, I remember
festivities.
like I talked to you about it. You brought that point up. It was like, yeah, you gotta go eat now. Go find the food. It's like, yeah, it's a good idea. But my brain doesn't operate that way. My brain's like, go train and then go back to the car. Like, damn, that hurt. I don't want to eat no food. Fuck they food.
Post training, delicatessens or whatever,
So North Dakota Jiu Jitsu.
Right, what you got?
I'm still scrolling. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4,
Okay.
5, 6, 7.
Dang, I stand
8,
corrected.
9, 10, 11, 12,
That's what's
13. 14. God,
So they got quite a bit. So there you go. To my original point.
still going.
Everywhere you go to, there's going to be a jiu-jitsu camp somewhere.
Yeah.
Now, the quality of them may vary some, but hey, if you're in the middle of nowhere and I see a jiu-jitsu camp, it makes me smile.
Yeah. That's the whole thing about this thing of ours is that you're doing it.
Yeah.
And it's better than, it's like, oh, well, Montana. I'm going to pick on Montana because I feel like they don't have it up there. Like,
Hey, if North Dakota have 14, 15 camp, I'm sure Montana does.
see,
They do jiu-jitsu on the horseback.
like, if I go to Montana and they've got none. And it's like, why don't y'all got no jiu-jitsu up here, son? And,
Right, the value of the place just goes down.
Yeah.
If you don't have
I was going to buy a house out here.
Right, you messed this whole thing up.
And then they'll look at me like, we didn't want you to buy a house out here. I was like, ooh. Like, you didn't say it like that. Let's see here. Montana, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. All right. Maybe, let me stop talking shit.
They have 75 camps.
Like, I hit the Price is Right. Like,
Right.
just, the thing kept rolling. I was like, yep.
That's good, though. That's good. I love it.
Good for them. I mean, and, again, when you look at things that unite, jiu-jitsu is one of those things. I mean, there's a meme that talks about, you can have people of different religions, different political backgrounds, police officers and ex-cons.
Oh, I love choking a police officer. Legally on the mats. No, but it's that was one of the first things that I noticed when I joined, when I started doing jiu-jitsu, is just people from all walks of life.
Yeah.
We have like a Coach Neal who's like a lawyer. Then you have we had Luke Cage who was like a dang doing Secret Service. I mean, we had we got FBI agents. We got all kinds of
chief of police out there. Yeah, man.
So it's a little mix of everything. And then you might have someone that just, I don't know, does coding or something. Everybody's different.
Yeah.
But none of it matters, and that's the beauty of it. So your social economic status, none of that matters. You go, your race doesn't matter. You go on the mats. Your technique, the work that you did yesterday is what matters.
Yeah.
And that's what's again, the great equalizer. Those mats.
Yeah, when I was training early on, I remember getting wrist lock consistently, and it didn't occur to me
terrible keys
that I'm rolling with Chief, and I didn't understand. Oh, he's a police officer. Yeah, man. Well, because I think what happened during those moments is I started getting the confidence in oh, wait a minute. I am capable. I'm strong. I'm fast. And look at this old dude. Let me run this dude down. I think he started realizing, man, this young dude is tiring me out. Yeah. Let me equalize this shit. And I remember that first wrist lock. I didn't know how to feel about life. I had to think real hard. Yeah. Because the thing is, he wrist locked me, I tapped. We rolled again, he wrist locked me again, I tapped. He did it again, I tapped. And then I just kept my hands away from him.
Lesson learned.
And then I sat out the next round. And I'm just sitting there thinking yo, what the fuck was that? Mm-hmm. And then I didn't roll with him for a while because I just didn't understand. In my head, I was like, I don't know what's going on. So I head home, hop on the interwebs. Wrist locks. Okay. All right. Cool. I got you. So for the longest time, every time I would roll with people, like I had like
Yeah,
tight my
sure.
fist and my wrist.
It's post traumatic stress.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
wrist
scared,
lock
man.
will make you remember some things.
And then I recently got wrist locked, and I was pissed. Like, who wrist locked me?
I got wrist locked by Baird the other day.
Yep,
Yeah,
him. He got me. He
yeah.
got me twice last week. CH got me. I remember when CH wrist locked me. I was furious. Like, it was still cool. Like, good roll.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't talk to him for a while. I was like, man, because I think I saw him
He
another
can't be
time.
that way. CH, he's a good guy.
He's like one of the nicest dudes. But I remember he was like, "Hey, don't say what's going on." I was like, "Hey, man, what's up?" I was like, I don't got much more to say right now. I'm still salty. And I let him know. Eventually, I was like, "Look, man, you wrist locked me. I'm a little upset about this." But Barrett does it, and he and I talked about it on Wednesday. He was like, "No, I'm always hunting for it." And I was like, "Okay,
Yeah.
now I know." So then when we rolled later on, I knew. Like, he beat the piss out of me. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
But I just didn't want to get wrist locked. I was like, you can.
That was your win. No wrist
Yeah,
locks.
yeah. He didn't wrist lock me. I'm a champion right now. So I don't know, but it's all fun. It's all family.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the thing is, nobody's trying to go injure anybody on purpose.
Yeah.
It is part of the jiu-jitsu. We have to get tough about it too. So
Yep.
like I get submitted, and sometimes it doesn't feel great. And I applaud them. I'm like, man, good shit, man.
Yeah.
Fist bump. Let's keep on going. Get a gouge to the eye. Things that happen. Knee to the mouth. It's
Yeah.
just sometimes a little Muay Thai gets slid into it.
Like, I mean,
But they don't mean
it's
it.
the game.
And I'm sure I have probably injured more people than I care to even say. So and it's never been on purpose. It's just the nature of the beast, really.
Yeah. I mean, like I always say to people, someone hurts me. Everyone who's ever done anything, they've always been apologetic. And I always tell them, look, I signed a waiver.
You're right.
I knew
Right.
what was going to
Right.
happen. At the end of the day, we know what we're there for.
Right.
We're there to build off of each other.
All right.
We're there to make each other better.
Sure. Absolutely.
And it's territorial, like family thing, because you have somebody come in to visit, and we're going to welcome them in.
Yeah.
But you also keep an eye on them, because it's like, all right, don't come in here rolling tough, with our white belts. Don't come in here,
Yeah.
body slamming anybody. Again, we're in here to learn. We're in here to like grow.
Yeah.
But we ain't out here to kill. If you come in off the street and then you start trying to like body slam, our white belts, or you're rolling with one of the female purple belts,
No.
and then you try to get tough, it's like,
Yeah.
damn it.
You're gonna get the wrath. Is what's gonna happen.
It's like we didn't want this to be it, but it's got to be it.
Yep, you get the wrath. You come after the family, you get the wrath. But we're everyone's protective over each other as well.
Yes.
Which is good, and it's supposed to be. And everyone gets along. But when we bump fists and go at it, we trying to win. That's really and improve. So things happen.
Yep. I mean, yeah, it's again, nothing's ill intent,
Yeah.
so we know. Jose,
Yeah.
we've been doing this for a while now,
Yes, sir.
with some cut-ins and cutouts and conversation before and off air. We got to
Sure.
do this again, though.
Yeah,
'Cause
man. Absolutely. Absolutely.
the
This
flow.
is fun. I appreciate it.
Yep.
And it's long overdue. We should
Absolutely.
have done this a long time ago. So I'm happy that it just miraculously happened. We just connected a couple of days ago, and here I am.
There's no reason it should have taken 151 episodes. So
Right.
that's just to mark that. This
right.
definitely goes out for
151.
151. This is the Bacardi episode.
Right. You got the Puerto Rican for the Puerto Rican rum episode. There you go.
Had I thought about it, I would have done it. I was rushing home from work.
Hey, send us to Bacardi, get some endorsements.
Of course. Dude, I'm always trying to talk up something like, hey, so I got a podcast. Anytime I see anyone on the street and they talking about an interesting story, it's like, hey, I got a podcast. You trying to be on?
Yeah, man, that's what's
Like,
up.
what you trying to do?
Hey, we all learn and grow together, man.
Absolutely. Before we get out of here, you got any shout outs or mentions you want to drop?
Of course, shout out to all the coaches and all the teammates at Crazy 88s, all the locations. Of course, the mothership, Lloyd Irving, Camp Springs. Shout out to you, Dante, for doing your thing. To keep on pushing. When the world pushes us, we push back.
Got to.
But I appreciate you for having me on. Of course, a little selfish plug myself. Import mobile detailing. Servicing the luxury car vehicles throughout Maryland. Look me up. Also, Mighty Healthy. On in Instagram. That's my personal channel. But I share nuggets of wisdom on health and life and things like that as well. So follow me there.
I'll make sure to put the links in the show notes.
Yeah.
I need the algorithm gets weird because I haven't seen like I see your posts once in a while and I'm like, oh, I thought he just dropped off of social media. Then I go and like, no, he's got tons of posts. What are we doing? So
Yeah.
I think I got to go in there and like a bunch of them, then get everything to come back into the algorithm, maybe. But
Yeah, it's all good. We'll figure it out.
I'll put everything in the show notes.
But I appreciate you having me, man.
No, absolutely. Thank you for making the time.
Sure.
And for everybody else out there listening, as always, thank you. If y'all got any questions, concerns, criticisms, always feel free to reach out to me. You can find me at bjj.wiki on Instagram. You can also find me at Off the Mats Podcast on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram. I'm all over. So You Like Horror, Compton Beer Club, everything. I'm on Instagram. Also, be sure to go leave a review. I got some reviews. I would read them on air, but I forgot to queue them up. But go drop some reviews. I got a few of them on Apple Podcasts. So go do that. Let people know how you feel. Unless it's bad, don't do that. Because if you do that, I'm not reading that shit on air. Actually, yeah, leave a bad review. I'll read it on air. And I'm going to call you out, too. But I want to give a big shout out to my fellows over there at Nerd Rage Radio. We're fast approaching episode 400 over there, so I'm pretty fucking excited about that.
Nice.
Get to go hang out with the guys soon. Bobby, Chris, Joe, Marilyn, Phil, Ricky Ticky, all the fellas. I need to bring the goddamn mug down here so I can read off everyone's name. But love you guys. Thank you for everything y'all do. Also want to give a shout out to my other podcast, So You Like Horror. We're doing horror by the decades right now, so...
Nice.
We got the 1950s coming up at the end of the week. It was a fun one. So go check it out. Go find it on Instagram. So You Like Horror. All the words are separated by underscores. And then, I'm hesitant to tell you to go check out Compton Beer Club because sometimes I get a little, we drink on there.
Check it out.
And sometimes we say things we probably shouldn't say and we're recording them and then we don't edit. So, and then the sound quality really fucks up. So, but go check it out. It's fun. If you want to have a good time and yell at your radio and be like, they don't know shit about sports, go listen to that podcast because we would give our opinion on anything and we know that it's the wrong opinion. There's no such thing as a wrong opinion, but it gets a little dicey. But otherwise, go check out all the podcasts in the network. If y'all got any suggestions for topics, y'all want to be a guest, reach out to. We're friendly over here. Otherwise, thank you, everyone. We love you to death. Y'all keep listening, and we are going to continue to make these shows. Thank you, everyone, and bye.
Deep with it. Now let me sing a song.